If you can make her laugh and giggle, you can make her cheeks clap and
jiggle.
This is a common saying used by ugly men to justify how they continuously pull bad bitches despite their freakish appearances. But does it actually work? Yes! Here's a free pickup line on me that you can use in your daily life to get yourself a bad bitch. Greetings!
Well, unfortunately for me, it looks like being funny wasn't enough to make up for my mid-physique and overall appearance. In an ideal world though, I'd be both funny and good looking at the same time. Not too dissimilar from today's topic of discussion, great looking comedy anime from 2025. We're just gonna jump right in with this one, no need for a drawn out intro. I gotta get this video pushed out before school starts and I lose half my views anyway.
I'm old!
What's happening? It's your boy Dity. Welcome back to Dity Minis, a show where I talk about pieces of media I find kind of interesting. Today, we'll be looking at the amazing art direction of Panty and Stocking Season 2 and City the Animation.
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
Let's see if I can cover this show without getting demonetized.
I'm pretty sure this show gave me my first boner. If you would have told me years ago that Panty and Stocking somehow got a second season 15 years after its first season concluded, in spite of a whole studio going defunct, multiple voice actors being swapped out, and mass censorship being at an all-time high, I'd have probably believed you because shit just doesn't faze me anymore. Aliens could be confirmed real and I just go about my fucking day. Nevertheless, it's still insane that this anime is finally being given some more time to shine after so much time has passed. You'd think that with today's standards for animation, a show as raunchy as Panty and Stocking would be held back. But no, the show's second season tells the censors to go fuck themselves. It's back, it's still crass, it's still rude, it's still Panty and Stocking. In fact, I think it's even more vulgar than the first season was, but that just might be me misremembering. Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt is older than some of you watching, so I'll give a brief synopsis on it before getting into its gorgeous animation. It follows two sisters, Panty Anarchy and Stocking Anarchy, angels that were kicked out of heaven due to their bad behavior. Panty likes sex, Stocking is fat, and they transform the things they're named after into weapons. That's basically all you need to know about them. In order to buy their way back into the pearly gates, they need to earn heaven coins by defeating the ghosts that are plaguing the people of Dawton City. Joining them is their priest overseer Garterbelt and a white boy named Brief who's kinda just there. I low-key forgot why he meets the sisters in the first place, but I definitely get why he sticked around, if you get what I mean. Oh, and their bizarro versions, Scanty and Knee Socks, are there too. They sorta kinda join the main cast in the second season, which I find a welcoming change, because god damn!
Stop. Sorry, Jesus.
You should be. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, this show's got a lot of ass and titties in it, something I'm by no means complaining about, but that means I can't even think about showing off half the shit that gets put on screen here. It's awesome. Anyways, I'm gonna stop being a gooner for now and move on to what you all clicked on this video for, Panty and Stocking's animation. It's insanely good. The first thing you'd probably notice about Panty and Stocking is, it doesn't look like an anime at all. This is by intention. Panty and Stocking's style pays homage to American cartoons of the late 1990s and early 2000s with a thicker line art style and simpler character designs. Not only does it help with making the show visually distinct from the other dime a dozen shows put out in Japan, but it lets the animators really pop off during fight scenes. With such simple character designs, it allows them to animate movement much more fluidly and give this already chaotic show even more juice. Some of the shots in this show are fucking insane, dude. Look at this.
Now it's my turn! You like that, bitch? To retrofit you with 666 new airmen!
You'll notice that there's not a single straight line in this show. All the lines on the characters, the buildings, the effects, everything is curved. I love this angular look. It gives everything such a dynamic and sharp feel. It complements the edgy nature of the show perfectly. Line weight varies in thickness quite frequently, especially on characters, and it always looks nice. I can only imagine how much of a pain in the ass it was to animate this show with such limitations, but I'm glad to say that the effort paid off. The line work here is simply incredible, very crisp, as with the rest of the show as a whole. This show benefited from the 4K facelift greatly. I went back and watched some of season 1 in preparation for this video and couldn't help but see that everything just looks so grainy and pixelated in comparison. They really did the most with the extra resolution they were given. I want to say the biggest upgrade was the coloring though. The colors in the first season were great, but the colors in the second season are phenomenal. Everything's so bright and saturated, yet it's never hard on the eyes. They do some cool things with the lighting too. I really enjoy Panty's color palette whenever she's under harsh shade. They take her blonde hair and completely rework it, coloring it blue instead. Similar lighting effects can be found on the other characters, but I noticed it with her first, plus it just looks really cool. I forgot about something. They gave Garterbelt normal lips. That's probably a bigger upgrade now that I... Mixed media! Some of my favorite shows love changing up the art style for a gag or maybe just a whole episode. Panty and Stocking does this a lot. During close-ups, the girls will adopt a more traditional anime style. After defeating a ghost, the animators blow up a real papier-mâché model of it. An entire episode is animated in a Jack Kirby style, changing up the aspect ratios and everything. This is awesome! In spite of how difficult it must have been to work on, I have my suspicions that the people at Trigger at least had fun. There's just a lively atmosphere present in every episode, and I know motherfuckers were dying behind the scenes drawing some of this shit. Watch the Fast and the Furious parody they made and you'll see exactly what I mean.
I'll introduce you, my wife. Despite the look, a lady.
Bet your ass, Papa.
What's up, Swim Diesel? Let's do this, fam. We in it together.
You could say we're bro jobs.
If you smell what the cock is cooking.
Panty and Stocking isn't perfect, but none of the complaints I have for it involve its animation. If you want some gorgeous anime eye candy and you're fine with the characters dropping F-bombs every 2 seconds and getting naked, check this one out. If nothing else, it's a fun, non-stop ride of a watch that left me thoroughly entertained. I want to fuck Panty and I don't care how many STDs I get.
Enjoying the video? Here's your engagement check. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support this channel and give commodity money to pay for insulin.
But why do I need to do all that? Isn't my view enough?
Viewing alone is great, but doing these 4 things pushes this video in YouTube's algorithm. And if you made it this far, here's this video's prompt of the day.
How do you guys prefer your animated look? Do you like shows that look more cartoony and vibrant, or do you think shows look better, more realistic and gritty? Personally, I think it depends on the show and the genre, but I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. Remember that I read every single comment unless this video seriously blows up, so hey, don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. You know, I'm here, I'm lurking. I'm in the comments lurking. Thanks guys. Mwah.
Cheeseburger.
On the complete opposite end of the aesthetic spectrum from Panty and Stocking, we have City, the animation, a wholesome cutesy gag anime about a city, and of course the people that live within it. From what I can tell, the show doesn't really have a main character and constantly bounces off of a rotating cast. The closest to a main character we have is Nagumo, a 20-something broke college student who lives with her roommate Nikura. and I gotta be really careful saying her name for obvious reasons.
How is a nigga gonna borrow a fry?
It's a fun, lighthearted watch that doesn't take itself too seriously and honestly doesn't need much of an introduction because holy hell, look at how good this show looks! Right away, there's an obvious comparison to be made with City, that being its similarities to Nichijou, a classic comedy anime I'm sure most of you have seen or at least heard of. They're made by the same mangaka, Keiichi Arawai, and it's pretty obvious when you look at them side by side. Some people are calling this nothing but a spiritual successor to that show, but I think it's unique enough to stand on its own 2 feet, mainly in its art direction. The first obvious difference is the colors. Holy moly, do these colors look great! Similarly to Panty and Stocking, they're also vibrant and pronounced, but with its quieter atmosphere, they make good use of the more somber palettes as well. Everything in this anime looks like a children's coloring book in the best way possible. I tried to look up the technical definition of what this coloring style is called, but I got mixed results. I'm sure you can see what I mean just by looking at it though. Every color is excellently chosen and reflects on each other nicely, in part due to the super flat art style and the background art. You'll probably notice something straight away when looking at clips of this show. It lacks shading, most of the time at least. Normally this would be something to critique, but I actually really like how it looks here. For one thing, it feels like it's really embracing the cartoony look of the mangaka's style, which focuses on flat colors contrasting against each other rather than highly detailed rendering. What's more, in place of shading, we have this really nice hatching and cross-hatching look with the line work that gives a lot of charm to this already charming series. It kind of reminds me of a comic book in a way. Speaking of the lines, the line work here is great too. Thick outlines are always a nice sight to me, as you could have probably guessed by now, but something this show does really well is changing the width and the cleanliness of the lines on characters depending on the situation. When they get close to the camera, their lines are drawn thicker, and they get messy when the characters freak out for a visual gag. I love it when shows do that. It's a great visual indicator of intensity. All the shapes are round and friendly looking, which is great for a series as cute as this. And speaking of that, the style overall is super cute too. In fact, the whole series just oozes cuteness. If you're looking for a show to cheer you up after a bad day, City's got you covered. Sadly, watching this show didn't bring back all the money I threw away gambling, but it helped. Seriously though, this show is adorable. I love the way the mangaka draws faces. Everyone has a unique face shape, with most of the girls having slightly chubby cheeks and the more masculine men having these super angular jawlines. Eyes are big and sparkly, but get dulled down for visual gags. Character designs are kind of simple, but in a good way. It leads to them being recognizable at a glance, and it... Is she wearing the fucking Sans hoodie? Something Panty and Stocking as well as this show does are great visual effects. Usually for this show, it's text popping up on screen during certain gags, but they really get creative with warping these letters and characters. It kind of reminds me of how Spider-Verse occasionally has superhero comic text layered throughout after certain actions. Weirdly, one of the most notable things about this show that I don't see often talked about is how it animates steam. It's a strange thing to bring up, I know, but take a look and see what I'm talking about. Look at how visually distinct this is. It's clear and super well animated. It just adds a whole other layer of uniqueness to the animation style, and small additions like that are littered everywhere in this anime. City is a great watch. It's not as funny as I was expecting it to be, which is a shame because I really remember liking Nichijou, but then again, I was 9 when the show dropped, so I could potentially be misremembering, guys, I don't know. Either way, even if its comedy isn't the best, the show's visual identity and wholesome atmosphere more than make up for that. Every couple of seconds while watching this show, I was getting a stupid grin on my face, just from how cute it was or how impressed I was with the show's art. They had no reason to go as hard as they did for some of these scenes, but I'm glad they did. Give this one a watch if you have the time. I promise you, it's worth a look.
You could say we're bro jobs.
These two shows are strangely similar in spite of their jarring differences in atmosphere, aren't they? Both are mirroring releases from over or around 15 years ago. Both use thick, cartoony-esque line weight, both use saturated coloring, and the most poignant similarity of all, They're both absurdist comedies. Yet, in spite of them being within a genre that mostly promotes static or shitty animation in favor of good writing and joke telling, these shows say fuck that and make themselves look great anyway. If you take away anything from this video, take away this. Not every great looking anime is a battle shonen action series with millions worth of dollars in budget put towards it. Sometimes great looking shows can be right under your nose, using the guise of comedy tags to hide an amazingly animated series on par with some of the best this medium has to offer. Give both of these shows a chance if you haven't already, because the biggest joke they have to offer is how they're both better than Solo Leveling in every way.
Bet your ass, Papa.
Got motherfucking damn commodity. Guess what? Chester Stone finna get a crib soon, dude.
Hi,
God
Chester
is good
Stone.
all the
Can
time.
you say subscribe
And I got
to
a
the
girlfriend. Girlfriend named Stella. Look.
Why aren't you
Don't we
saying
make
it?
a perfect
Why
couple?
I'm paying you to say
God
subscribe to
motherfucking
Commodity.
damn
Why?